Do you feel like a crypto crackhead, or do you feel more like a cryptillion? Either way, you're at the right channel, so turn this up to ×2 playback speed because you're about to get Timified. Hey, new viewers, this channel is built for retail investors, which means you're pretty new to the space. You're new to crypto trading. So I know you're doing two things wrong, and guess what this channel does? Day in and day out, it addresses the two things you're doing wrong. What are those? First, you don't know how to enter trade safely. So we go over that because you're definitely listening to YouTubers buying things after it's gone up 3,000%, even though you don't know what that means probably. You buy it, then it drops on your face, right? You're down red just after buying it. And also, most new investors are buying and praying, which means you haven't sold much. So I mathematically prove over and over. You can go look at my Harmony 1 and Pirate Chain videos, or you can look in the description section down where it says library. You can look at the 20 bag video. I mathematically prove to you, if you like 𝐾𝐫, you sell 𝐾𝐫. If you like Cardano, you sell Cardano, or enter in whatever YouTube coin that YouTubers are talking about. Enter that. If you like that coin, you sell that coin to get more. All right, so those are the two things we do. Safe entries, profit pimping, take profits like a boss. If that sounds good, you end up subscribing by the end of this channel, or by the end of the channel, Tim, by the end of the video. Then you could hit thumbs up. But if you subscribe, I need you to let me know which crypto pronoun you have chosen, cryptillion or crypto crackhead. If that sounds good, let's get going. All right. So let's make myself small before I forget. All right. 4-hour midterm ribbons doing their work. Look at that. Ow. Ooh. Oh, that's so perfect. Oh, that's so perfect again. Oh, that's almost so perfect again. What has 𝐿𝐾𝐽𝑡𝐶𝑠 been doing on his shrimpy channel? Oh, buying the gray line. Pretty safe entry. So new viewers, that's available to crackhead and above tiers on Patreon. The exact details on how to make a chart. But other than that, you can look up how to set your chart. Look on the charting video down in the description section, or in the library section of my channel. You'll be able to see that, how to set up a chart similar to this, but without ribbons. All right. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin just took a quick dive. So what did that do to altcoins? Okay, well, let's go. This is our altcoin video. What are you doing on this, Tim? Well, I wanted to show you that Bitcoin hits that four-hour midterm ribbon line too. So why have I been picking up BEPRO as a 100 bag opportunity? Because it's hanging out around this line. Where have I been buying it? When it's under the line. Okay, well, it looks like it's forming support right around the line, and it's just due to break up whenever. So what's the average that, gut feeling that I've seen coins hang out around the gray line? About 24 days. How long has it been? 23 days. Okay, pretty in line. So I've seen a few people say, oh, your prediction's bad. Well, just not if you're on the weekly schedule. You can just move things over a week. So I already actually moved it over a week. I had this here. I thought it was going to hit 2 cents last week. Okay, well, maybe this week. Or if I move it over 1 week, okay, it's just 2 candles off. It's not a big deal. I'm not making guesses on the 1 hour chart. So if you're going to, before you make a clueless noob statement about, oh, it's a bad prediction. No, it's bad timing. But my channel, and I really no channel that actually knows what they're doing, tries to time things perfectly. Right? You go for levels, horizontals. So you try to time things, but you never say, oh, this is going to happen on this date. No, you say this is the general trajectory of it. So, and I still think it's going to do this roughly the same play. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Just move it over a week. And if we have to move it over one more week, then that's it. So BEPRO on the, let's look at BEPRO on the daily short-term ribbons. Yeah, so what needs to happen here, and why I think it's going to hit 2 cents, is on the daily, it needs to hit the 2 hour, and it needs to help flip these ribbons like this, so the green's on top, and then it needs to retrace, and then once it retraces, then BEPRO can go up to the next horizontal, which is roughly 2.4 cents, make a higher low, and then move on up to like the 3.5 to 3 cent to 4.1 cent. Before it starts breaking all-time highs. So it's going to have to stair step a little bit. It's going to retrace after hitting 2. It's going to retrace a tiny bit, not as much though, after hitting 2.4, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that's what it'll do. I mean, most things, even Bitcoin right now, is retracing. after trying to flip the daily short-term ribbons. Look, see that? Flipped them, retracing. That's what BEPRO is going to do. So this is kind of like BEPRO's version of 2 cents. So Bitcoin just made the same play and is retracing. And BEPRO is like right here on that schedule. So right there. Okay. So really, I mean, Bitcoin, what Bitcoin's price action is doing on the daily short-term ribbons, I mean, is what you can expect BEPRO to do. But several days later, if not a week later. So you can break it down on the daily scale, and that would be your BEPRO analysis. Is honestly Bitcoin. They're moving very, very similarly right now. Okay. One of the big differences though on the 4-hour midterm ribbons though, BEPRO is consolidating under the 4-hour midterm gray line, and Bitcoin is clearly using it as support. Check it out. Holy cow! Look at this. Oh. Wow, that line really works. How did you do that? Freaking voodoo magic. That's how I did it. Our Patreon crackheads and above have that information. So, but new viewers, if you want to be able to set up your chart, I teach you how to do it like this, the more normal way, in the description section. So, you after watching this video, you might want to go figure that out because it's going to drastically help your trading. All right, so BEPRO, yeah, just maybe a week behind, maybe 2 weeks behind, but in terms of levels, I still think the same things are going to happen. It's going to move pretty similarly to Bitcoin on the daily short-term ribbons. So that's kind of what I would be looking out for. I think the daily might be a better play short-term than the 4-hour midterm ribbons. And the daily Stokes are getting ready to cross up. So it's on the verge of a decent move here. Okay, so BEPRO, yeah, well, it's joining Team Bolt. Hurry up and wait. But in crypto, you got to have a lot of patience, right? That's what that duck video was all about. Don't duck out in the bear market. You got to have a lot of patience. I mean, even Bolt has a lot of work to do. It needs to flip these ribbons and then come back down and retrace it. Maybe not come back all the way down here, but it needs to flip them. So it might get up. Actually, this is a good guess. It might come up to there and then come back and retrace into the ribbons. So Bolt and BEPRO, fairly similar posturing. So they're probably going to move together. So if I may add something to my analysis on BEPRO in regards to Bitcoin, well, I mean, Bolt and BEPRO are looking pretty similar. If you want to look at it on the 4-hour chart, 4-hour midterm ribbons should be under it. Yep, see, it's also consolidating under its 4-hour gray line ribbon, which only some coins are doing that. Most coins are right on top of it. Yeah, so that's what we got. Bolt and BEPRO, probably the same boat. They might move almost exactly together. We'll see. But either way, Bitcoin might be several days ahead of those two. So if you see Bitcoin do something on the daily, you know, expect something similar to on BEPRO and Bolt. Okay. So that's my analysis on those two. Idea. Holy cow. Okay. I'm going to chill this coin. So I'm going to be chilling, not shilling, but I'm going to be shilling with data in a chart. Chart, shilling, chilling. I'm chilling. We're chilling. I'm going to chill this coin. Disclaimer. Two disclaimers. Unlike most YouTubers do when they talk about a coin they hold. A lot of them do say I do own this coin, which I do have I have a crap ton of this, by the way. However, I wanted to mention, you know, the my general thoughts on this, because I mean, this could be a really good opportunity for a lot of folks. Not in this instant, obviously, as I'll soon cover. But so I'm chilling this. Disclaimer, I own a lot of it. But second, on this channel, I always stress, don't chase green candles. So what do we see? A lot of green candles. You don't chase them, okay? A moderately safe entry is the daily 21 EMA. Wherever it touches it, even if it takes 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. That's a moderately safe entry in a bull market. In a bear market, it's not at all. In a bull market, it's a moderately safe entry. And if you can get it under it, something like the daily 55 EMA, that's even safer, as most people know. So for new viewers who say, oh, I want to jump in an idea. Well, personally, I sure as hell wouldn't. That's a green candle. I don't chase green candles. I buy things when my analysis says it's about to go up. What did we just do with BEPRO and Bolt? Analyzing it's about to go up. We don't buy things after it went up, right? That's what other YouTubers, non-traders, so most traders aren't going to do that to you, but the news folks are going to lead you to do that stuff. So I'm talking about this coin. I'm going to say some really good things about it. But right now, if I were listening to a YouTuber talk about it, I sure as hell wouldn't even think about buying it. Not financial advice. That is simply what I would do. So I want to be very frank with that. Timing wise, in my opinion, horrible time to get into it. How do you follow this channel, know about origin lines, and followed some of my live chats for patrons in regards to this, I was thinking, hey, this might actually be forming a bottom trend line, and here's why I'm talking about it. Check this out. So I pulled this throughout the entire year. Maybe I should go on the 2-day chart. Make this, there we go. Check it out. If that truly is the bottom trend line, which the reason I think it really could be is because it got a violent reaction up off of it. Had it not gotten a violent reaction off of it, similar to BEPRO just crushing through its trend lines, which we had in former videos, if it had crashed through it, then it would have ended up using this as resistance, similar to my guesses on BEPRO, which seems to be playing out. Actually, it might not ever touch it again. it hasn't gotten there yet, but if it does, it'll likely use it as resistance, not writing it as support. So the idea that the thought process that this could be the bottom trend line is because Bitcoin, if I may relate an altcoin to Bitcoin one more time, Bitcoin, when it went from 14,000 down to 4,000, it broke its bottom trend line, its bottom origin line for the absolute first time in its price history ever. See that? This bottom green trend line, look, it wick past, but this actually closed candles below it. I mean, for weeks. And then what happened? A violent reaction on the weekly scale. IDEA is a much younger coin, so the week to Bitcoin is more like a 4-hour candle on IDEA in terms of relativity, right? Very young coin versus a coin with 11, 12 years of price history. So if things go below a bottom trend line, they typically react very violently off of it. It's because this called bottoms, right? So because it reacted that violently, it kind of looks like it might use it as a bottom line support throughout the rest of the bull market, and perhaps for the rest of ever, and until whenever. I don't want to make guesses that far out, but the rest of the bull market. And check this out. Just at that, it's 28 bucks. If this theory is right. Now, it is totally possible it moves sideways for quite some time, like BEPRO, then uses this as resistance, or uses that one as resistance, like this one or that one, right? But as of now, the data is suggesting that might be the bottom origin line, which puts the very bottom origin line at about 28 bucks in December. Connect the dots yourself. Is this a good time to buy it? On the mid and short-term time frame, hell no. I don't buy green candles. I don't chase green candles. I don't buy glory. I buy dips. Did I pick up more idea down here when it touched this, when it was way below this, what I thought was the bottom trend line? Was I buying it below here? Yeah, because I thought this was going to go like that. I thought this was the bottom one. But then it formed a new one with wicks and wicks, and I realized, so I actually picked up a little tiny bit more, even though I had a ton of it from over here. So yeah, so it's not a great time to get it. I wanted to rehash that after having gone over the math behind what it could be at the end of the year, should these projections hold up, which it's a very young coin. The statistical likelihood of these projections, holding weight, I mean, it's not a huge likelihood at this point because it's such a young coin. But as of now, the data is suggesting maybe so, okay? Not a bad chance. All right, so let's go to Trias. Everybody freaking out about Trias, all right. Also a young coin, so we need to go down to the 4 hour. So the 4 hour is kind of like the weekly for this one compared to Bitcoin. All right. So let's say that this area here in price is similar to this area here for an explosion up, okay? Let's copy it. right on it. Make it fit. It's a little too small. There we go, something like that. Okay? So that's what I just did. I just chose this hump to equal this hump. And this is a fractal. So let's see. So a lot of times one coin ends up repeating. It's pretty similar, previous price action. Well, lo and behold, where does that fractal go up to? About $30. Where did price find a local top? About $30. So when might be a good time to pick up more trias? Around $12 or $13 might be a good bet, or somewhere around 15. It's already following this perfectly. I mean, look at this crap. Okay. So what it's going to probably do here shortly, if it really does follow this, is it's going to find a first low, which oftentimes, remember early viewers of this channel, what did I say first dips in a bull market often go to? The 2-hour 89 EMA. Well, what do you think? Actually, I haven't checked this. I don't think I have. So if I can move this. If I go to the 2-hour, what do you think might be around here? The purple line's the 89, right? So let's go to the 2, see if it's aligning. Pretty close. It almost hit it. Wow. Okay. So what line does price hit next in the second dip after a big run? Oftentimes, the daily 10 or the 4-hour 55, because they're usually pretty similar. So if you make a projection of the 4-hour 55, kind of tracing it, guessing its slope, go about like that, and let's make that blue so we know it's that one, and then go to the daily and try to draw this out. Holy cow. Look at that. Told you they're almost always close. Like, that's not voodoo magic. It's just, if you look at charts, I'll let you know the 4-hour 55 and the daily 10 are usually pretty close, which is why it's often a very heavy level of support, because you have people trading the 4-hour chart, seeing it, and then you have people trading the daily chart, seeing the 10. So two vastly different groups of groups of buyers step in there and become buyers. That's why those often stick, right? So in this fractal, let's get it right on it. Where does price come down to? A little bit lower than that. Okay, does that go close to the daily 21? Let's see. Daily 21. Oh, so daily 21 is what this projection is, or this fractal. Am I guessing this what will happen? Well, it looks like it's the most probable because it's doing exactly the same thing right now. So I think that this would be your most probable bet. Is this the only thing that can happen? Hell no. This probably isn't even 50% likely. But if it's 30% likely, there's no one other guess that I could come up with that is more than 30% likely. Therefore, it's the most probable, although it's not probable, right? Not over 50%, but still the largest, okay? So let's look at what BEPRO did last time it did a big run, okay? Let's compare this to BEPRO, just to get some data, points here. Let's look at the 2-hour. So when BEPRO ran up from 0.002 and broke out, and it got up to almost a penny, right? 0.008. Where did it come down to? The 2-hour 89. The next dip, after it ranged, went to the top of the range. Where did the next dip go? I actually remember this because I bought it and it went slightly lower and it actually touched the simple moving average of the 20. So I was guessing the next dip, which is a very common play. The first dip hits the 2-hour 89 EMA. The next dip often is slightly deeper in a bull run. Now, this doesn't apply in a bear market necessarily, but the next one in a common play is the next one hits the daily 21 EMA. So let's look at the daily 21 EMA. Maybe. So I'm comparing BEPRO to look, 21. There, see that? There you go. It actually wicked below it. So if you want to zoom in a little more, and go like this. It actually hit the 20 perfectly. See that? It wicked down to get the 20. But usually it's the 21 EMA. Okay, so let's go back to Trias. Since that's a very common play, does that align with this fractal that I just drew? Does the fractal align with a very common play in crypto? It sure as hell does. Where does the daily 20 SMA come in? So it might just do a pretty normal correction. So coming down to 12 bucks, everybody say, oh, no, that's actually completely, perfectly normal. It's like actually one of the most common ways to correct. So there might be a lot of other things that happen. It might, correct deeply, then skyrocket up immediately. However, if I had to make a guess on Trias and how to play it, how to get in if I weren't in it, or if I took profits, when to buy back, I would rely on the daily 21 as a pretty good basis. Okay, and then you could probably look at things once it gets close to the daily 21, then maybe flip to the 4 hour and say, well, how does it behave when it starts, after it takes a dive? How did the 4 hour behave? Well, the 4 hour, kind of like our typical rule, right? You can just do some of the things I've said on the past stuff. Look, watch. Look how crazy this is. You wait until the 4 hour, or the 2 hour really, moving average, which is the white line, crosses this white line, which is the neutral line. So here, had it crossed it? No. Had it crossed it here? Yes. You wait for a retest of it, and then you wait for the retick, and you buy it right around there. So April 28th was was April 28th around 0800 hours a good time to buy it? Well, let's take a look. April 28th at 0800 hours. Whoa, crazy. So if you wanted to blindly, not even worry about the daily 21, you just really wanted to wait until the 4 hour RSI on Trias does something, regardless of where price is. Stop, you literally use the strategy. Don't even look at price. Whenever you look at Trias, only look at the 4 hour RSI. If it doesn't do something simple, unless it gets to that point, you're still waiting to get in. If you're somebody who's looking to get in or whatever. That's it. Because it's probably going to happen. Does it have to happen? No. Another possible scenario is that it pings off aggressively and goes up and then tests it way up here, but then price is already at 45 bucks. That is completely possible. However, a very common play in crypto is it dives below, comes up, tests it, and then starts going up. So that's green. So this is the RSI. Now to draw the moving average. Now to draw the moving average, you go like this. Moving average dips below, crosses, then price checks it. And good to go. So price checked it here after it crossed. So price really didn't check it here because it had this white line hadn't crossed this white line. So really, that would be personally how I play this. If you wanted to get a step ahead of this, you can do the same thing on the 2 hour. Same play. It's a mixed bag. It allows you to be one step ahead a little bit, but also gives you a little bit more false signals, because sometimes what happens, instead of this, you have a slightly higher chance that the 4 hour is not quite ready, right? And this behavior of the 2 hour does not pull, it does not translate, or it doesn't cascade into the 4 hour yet, because the 4 hour needs to go a little deeper or whatever. And what you might sometimes, you run the chance of happening is when it's right there, although I do use the 2 hour quite a bit on this, when it's right there and the moving average is doing this guy, what you see happen a lot, if this doesn't cascade the 4 hour, it goes boom, right back through. So that's why it's really important to wait till that next uptick. Waiting for that uptick makes all the difference. And as you saw, as I went to, April 8th at 0800 hours, you still were at a great point. You didn't lose out on a lot of price action, but it allows you to be one step ahead. So there are multiple strategies, or you can mix those two to be to kind of think about trias. Is you can keep your eye on the daily 21 EMA or the daily 10 even, right? So if it gets close to the daily 10, right? If price gets here and then what do you call it? The RSI, does what I just said on the 4-hour. Well, maybe what's going to happen is a compressed version of this, which this all happens faster, but still as aggressively. And it does something like that, like a compressed version. So as it gets close, boom, okay, well, it's done. All right, here we go. But it's roughly at the same level. But the posturing, I think, is going to be very similar. Timing, I'm not trying to time it. Comments on BEPRO, not necessarily trying to time it. Although I did say this week, but that's what the posturing was saying. Did it play out? No. Is the posturing still almost identical? Yeah. So let's move it back a week, right? So you should really try to time things. What do we got here? What else do we got? What were people? Oh, 𝑖𝐿𝐿. Boy, please don't be chasing great candles, people. No. Your time to get in was when it was getting close to the daily 10, kind of like I've been saying, or down here at the daily 21. If you're not in this coin, in my personal opinion, if I stared at this and someone said, you should buy 𝑖𝐿𝐿 coin, I would say you are setting yourself up statistically to be in a big red position. Similar to people who told me, pirate chain, get it in while you can, even though it just screamed up the 2 billion cap. I said, no, that's a losing strategy. And what happened right after that? It tanked like 60% because it hit the trend line perfectly. 66%. Where's pirate chain going straight up to? The top of the range. What's completely normal in a correction? The top of the range before it heads back down. Crazy, huh? Crazy. Is this a good time to take profits in pirate chain? Yeah. If you want a full description of that, go to my previous videos with the thumbnails of Pirate Chain and Harmony 1. Watch both of them on 2x speed. It is like not financial advice. If I was not able to sell this top, this is a second chance. And then you could buy it back lower and then do it again. Buy it back lower and perhaps one more time. Make a lot of money in a range, folks. Especially a big one like that. So 𝑖𝐿𝐿 coin, I think somebody who would be trying to get into it now is insane and doesn't know what they're doing. That's my personal opinion. Now, where will this tap out for people who have been in it? Well, how much price history has this guy got? How much? So it just had a blue sky breakout. Oh, and I just, it could go actually quite a bit farther. I didn't realize it was a blue sky breakout. So honestly, we do buy breakouts here as Cryptillion. So yeah, buy in somewhere around there because it was probably hitting the 4-hour or something. Maybe the 2-hour midterm ribbon. No, hit the 4-hour. See, when was the great time to buy the 4-hour midterm gray line ribbon? And this might be what Veracity is about ready to do too. This actually kind of looks like Veracity a little bit. Outside of it breaking an all-time high from previous years. Yeah, this can move up quite a bit. It's got one strike of bearish divergence on the 4-hour, but it might print it like several times. Like Veracity did it like 5 times. So this has 1 or 2 more pushes. This might be the end of the push before it ranges for a couple weeks and lets its 4-hour RSI reset, so it doesn't have to keep printing more and more bearish divergence. And if it does allow this to reset, it comes down here maybe to the top of this range, maybe slightly below, kind of like Cardano's just done. Build a base, then try it again. That would allow the daily RSI to not print any divergence because it would allow it to come down just a little bit, and then it could try it again. So yeah, that run is not done, but it could be fairly close. It has no divergence whatsoever on the daily, but sometimes small coins with not much price history, sometimes you base it off the 4-hour instead of the daily. Things like Bitcoin, you typically base divergence off the daily and the weekly, but here it's only printing its second strike of divergence, but it's not done yet. So it actually doesn't have any strikes at all, because this RSI technically could come all the way up to here. Therefore, it actually has no divergence at all because it made a higher high both in price and RSI. So you really won't know until this comes back down and ticks down a couple times. So right now, there actually is no divergence at all. This is not divergence because it might not be done. You don't know when it's going to head down, right? So yeah, this run isn't over, but that's what I would be looking for. I would be looking out for divergence on the 4 hour and then the RSI getting stuck under its moving average, like so, after the second strike, like that. I would wait for this second tick and boom. I would maybe so if it goes up here and then comes back below, something like that and that. There you go. I would be looking out for divergence, so lower high on RSI but a higher high in price, and then 4 hour RSI gets rejected once, gets rejected twice, and ticks down. Boom. That's personally would be my strategy on taking profits. How much? That's up to you. That's your call. In bull markets, I typically like 20 bags to 40 bags, 30 bags, something like that. Okay, and what else do we got? What else have people been asking about? Oh, SYLO. Here we go. It never hit its gray line. It might be playing the 2 hour though. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's playing it. Was it previously playing the 2 hour though? Yeah, it was. Okay, so this is playing the 2 hour, not the 4 hour. Yeah, it's hit it twice. I mean, it's consolidating right at its all-time high. It looks like and it might wait. It might wait for this to come up, for it to tag it one more time and then launch, and that could be May 21st, around May 20th. Could happen a little earlier, but I would suspect, since it does play off this line, since this 2 hour midterm ribbon gray line will be there around the 20th or 21st of May, that this will squeeze price up. It's very unlikely that it'll break down below it. Very unlikely, because it hasn't done it in recent history. So the likelihood of it happening is very low. So therefore, the likelihood, see how these statistics and probabilities work? So the likelihood of a squeeze play happening here, like, you know, the gray line here coming up and squeezing price between this high, this obvious ceiling here and the gray line, and then it, boom, builds pressure and pops up. I would be targeting around the 20th of May, somewhere, or that week, right? So noobs who come back on the channel on the 23rd, oh, it didn't happen, bad analysis. No. We think of things on the weekly scale, so chill. All right, so yeah, I think that's all I got for you. It's Mexican Mother's Day, and so I can't really be on the computer much. Mother's Day in Latin America, or at least in Mexico, is always on the 10th of May, not necessarily falling on a Sunday, right? So it's typically a couple days off or a day off in this case. So I got to go, but you all just got Timified new viewers. If you like what you saw and you did end up subscribing, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Help the YouTube algo, and let me know if you want to be a cryptillion or a crypto crackhead. You just got Timified.